Hi, this is Rahim. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are listening from. My name is Rahi Kondokar. Welcome to the Beyond 20 Summit. Today, we will be talking to a set of distinguished guests. We will be talking to some industry experts who have not only become pioneer, they are big influencers in this industry. So I will be talking to a few of them, six industry experts. We will talk about how to skill up, how to prepare yourself, how to skill yourself up for the next decade. So without delay, let's bring our first speaker. Let's bring Tima Elhaj from Tima Media.
Hi, Rahi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming to the show. We'll be talking a lot, but let me bring all the other guests. Let's bring Anthony Lake, all the way from Gold Coast, Australia.
Hey, Rahi.
Hey, Anthony. Good to see you. Good to see you. Love your background, and okay, beautiful. Mr. Almas Kabir, President of BASIS.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, thank you. So good to be. So really awesome to have you here, Almas bhai. Then we have one of the really great business coach, business strategist I look up to, Sharon Jurd.
Hi, Rahi. Nice to be here.
Hello, Sharon. Good. Sharon and Tima there. I forgot Tima is also from Australia, so am I. And it's from sunny Gold Coast, Sharon Jurd. And then we have Kaylee Chu, none other than Kaylee Chu.
Hello.
Kaylee, hello. Kaylee has lots and lots of expertise, but one that I am so admire, she has started something called 100 Lunches. She will tell the story, but she was an introvert, and at some point she said, no longer introvert. From today onward, I will be lunching with basically strangers, and that has taken a totally big movement. She has started a big move. So thank you everyone for joining with me, and I thank the organizers of Beyond 20. Thank you for creating this platform so that we get to come and talk to our participants and viewers, and we basically add our experiences, add our values. So thank you, gentlemen. Before I start, what I would like to say that my heartfelt condolences, because even though we are all of us, we are putting happy faces, but I know we are going through, we all know that, I mean, it's nothing, we are going through this pandemic situations. I know people who have lost loved ones. We loved businesses, like businesses, those are irreplaceable, but then of course, a lot of our closed ones. I know personally, I've lost friends, relatives during this pandemic. So really, our thoughts go out to them. And regarding business and all other things, one of my top guru, which is Dr. John DeMartini, he has done an awesome research on every pandemic actually brought a lot of opportunities. And this is what we are talking about today. There will be a lot of opportunities. There's always a lot of opportunities, but then in order for opportunities, you need to have skills, okay? So today we'll be talking about a lot of skills. Yes, I'm talking a lot, but at some point I will stop and I will get to you guys. But before that, before I talking about skills, that's what we're talking about. I will throw one question to you. What's your most underrated skill? I'll go with Tima, which world hasn't seen yet.
My most underrated skill so far.
Yeah.
Is that your question, Rahi?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good question. Why did you ask me first? I'm just joking. Okay, so I would say my most underrated skill is really when I'm in a room, I really feel that the energy I bring into the room is something that's very, very subtle, and not many people can probably feel it instantly, but eventually, people really are quite comfortable and open up to me. That's kind of like my initial thought. I really feel that's a natural skill of mine. mean, there are a couple of things, but I can tell you what my strengths are. It's a very interesting question, Rahi. So thank you for asking me that question straight away.
No, because I have a madness, not madness yet, but I have a plan where I want to take it. And slowly, I mean, Anthony is a mentalist, and he can, he will do some mental, Jedi things. But I want to take our audience somewhere. So, Anthony, please tell me, why do you feel that your underrated skill?
So I think an underrated skill would be, and it's very much along the same lines as Tima here, and that would be energy. Not necessarily underrated by myself, because I know the power of it, and this is really interesting because I think on your Facebook profile, you posted this today from watching Tony Robbins, that energy is the key. And as a public speaker, as a presenter, I don't think that people realize that skill in, as a presenter, being in front of people and being able to bring that energy, and energy is contagious and it can infiltrate into, whether that's one-on-one, whether that's one person that you're talking to, or whether that is like right now, like we're talking down the camera, the energy will come through, and people really underrate how important energy is. And I think that they underrate how much energy I bring as a presenter when I'm doing either a show or a keynote speech.
Awesome. Kylie, what do you think?
I think it's different because I wasn't born with that. I feel like my confidence really helped me a lot, in particular during challenging times like this. I feel like now, if there's any challenges come to me, I have the power to go through the challenge and overcome those challenges, and that's really important for me.
Awesome. And Sharon, please.
Thanks, Rahi. I've had the privilege of having another minute or so to think about it. I think my underrated skill is the consistency about what I do in the long term, because I truly believe that in business and life, you have to be really consistent. And some people think that they're consistent in a very short time, but I think for me, my underrated skill is, that people don't see that long-term, consistent discipline that I have over many years, and not just over a couple of weeks or days.
Beautiful. And Almas bhai. And Almas bhai, before we start, some of my friends here, our speakers here, they may not be quite familiar with Bangladeshi culture. So, in Australia, we just, doesn't matter whatever ranking or what we always jump on mate. In Bangladesh, when we talk to any person, especially when we respect, or, we add the word bhai, which is bro. Okay, brother. So you might hear that when I'm talking to Almas, even though I've just met him, but automatically that's kind of like cultural thing. I would say Almas bhai. That means brother Almas. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a cultural thing. It's like the Japanese, they say son, Almas son, something like this. So it's Almas bhai. And when if I were a female, then he would have said Almas appa or something like this. So it varies. Anyway, I think you said underrated skill. So yes. Something that I have but is not very much appreciated, or they are not known. I think it's my whistling skill. I really whistle well, but to be serious, actually, I think a lot of time what I do is I try to lead from the behind, and I delegate things and push from the behind. And sometimes people do not understand that kind of leadership because traditionally leadership is always the leaders lead from the front, but sometimes I try to lead from the behind. So I think that skill, I believe it's very important to empower the team members. But I think that skill of mine is sometimes misunderstood or underrated.
Okay, no, thank you. So, I mean, I did not want to throw a curveball. I mean, I did, but there was a reason for that. The reason for throwing that curveball is that so often, especially when I talk to, because for my work, I talk to right now. I work as a business coach, and I talk to so many businesses right now, and they are under stress. They are really stressed. Some of them lost their business. Some of them about to lose their business, but all of us, we have some skills. That's what I wanted to portray, that somehow we don't see, or we ourselves don't see, our audience don't see. So I just want to tell people that there are so many skills that you have, which people a lot of times don't see. Okay, so I will also now paint another picture. Since we're talking about skills for next decade, okay, let's jump on to 2030. Okay, 2030, and I will start with Almas Bhai, since you are the chairman of BASIS, and for those guys, if you don't know what's BASIS, it's basically everything to do with software and technology. So he is the director. He's the basically how do I say, the authority where for a country where technology will go along with the government. Basically, his team gets to decide in technology, from technology where the country will go, all the support that will get provided to. So in 10 years time, how do you see the landscape and the entrepreneur world, the landscape and the business have changed in 10 years time? If you are now fast track to 2020, how do you see things happening then?
So in the context of Bangladesh, you mean, right?
Yeah, yes. Let's start with Bangladesh first.
So I think as you all know, I think that Bangladesh government has a mandate to build a digital Bangladesh, and we really want to see the digital Bangladesh in practice, in reality, and a lot of that work have already been done. What digital Bangladesh is really, in real sense, is when the citizens of Bangladesh will be able to connect to each other very seamlessly, will be able to connect to the government very seamlessly, will be able to get the services, all kinds of citizen services from wherever they are. They do not have to travel to the capital city or to any district headquarter. When there will not be any kind of middleman, to delay things, or also then things will be more transparent, more accountable, and the democracy. When we say democracy, that democracy is actually in its true sense. When it will matter to the common citizen. So that is what digital Bangladesh really is, and I foresee and I envision that kind of digital Bangladesh by 2030. But more, I would say, at the same time, I would say, apart from being digitally connected with each other and with the government, the citizens will also be more knowledgeable. The society will be based on more knowledge, and the business transactions, we are trying to make a paperless office or cashless society, digital transactions. So I envision all these things to be happening in the next 1 decade in Bangladesh.
Okay, so in order for someone or a group, or right now the youth who will be leading us in those in 10 years time, what skill set, what are the things they need to have so that they become the pioneer, then they become the industry leaders? So what skill sets they need to have to take advantage of that the vision that you have set?
Okay, you see, for the last couple of years, we have been talking about the 4IR, the fourth industrial revolution. And we have been talking about what are the skills that are needed. I call them skills 4.0, like skills in IoT or artificial intelligence or big data or blockchain or augmented reality, virtual reality, robotics, all these things. So these are the skills which will be needed to embrace the 4IR. Interestingly, this COVID situation has accelerated that fourth industrial revolution. So what we have been planning for the last couple of years, that Bangladesh will enter the fourth industrial revolution in the next 3 to 5 years, it will actually enter into 4IR much more earlier, maybe in the next couple of years, maximum 3 years. So, and that is the time where before that, we have to be ready with all these skills that I was just mentioning about. I'll give you an example. You know, Bangladesh is ranked number two in the whole world in manufacturing ready-made garments, after China, of course. So why Bangladesh is the hub of RMG, or ready-made garments of the world? Because Bangladesh can offer cheap labor. So that is the advantage that we have been enjoying for the last 35 to 40 years. Problem is that fourth industrial revolution will change all of that, because it will bring robotics, and factories, the RMG factories will become all run by robots. So you will not have that advantage of cheap anymore. So what we will have to do is we will rebrand Bangladesh as not a country of cheap labor, but rather a country of skilled labor. And again, for an example, right now we are exporting garments to Europe and America and other places in the world, and Australia as well. Maybe in 10 years' time, if we start, if we divert, if we reskill, if we upskill our people and start making digital devices, start making robots, so we will not be exporting garments, we will be exporting robots to those countries, and those countries can have factories and put those robots and make their own garments. So that is what I really want to envision, and I urge the young people to get these skills of which are required to embrace the fourth industrial revolution.
Thank you, Almas. That is so important. Yeah, exactly. Because yes, we're talking about in pandemic, things actually people have now more urgency, because things were moving fast. But right now, I think the time space, if I talk about, since you're talking about science, I think it's kind of like a time space has got a little more squeezed, and we have to do all the things that were planned in later stage has to be brought forward. Okay, Sharon, you are amazing. I know I talked to so many of your clients, and amazing business strategists and business coach speakers. Where do you think the world will shift to, and what are the things that we have to be so basically skill ourselves up when the shift happens? Shift is already happening, but when it happens in in 10 years' time.
Yes, well, I'll talk about the world, but I don't. For the people who don't know, I actually have a franchise in Bangladesh, and it's our largest franchise in the world. We're in 42 countries, so I'm really proud to be associated with Bangladesh quite personally. But I think what people have to remember in these times, we've talked about change, is that we have to be open to change. So sometimes we set a path where we think that that's our career and that's where we're heading. And you do come into these changes where your career is no longer a job role, for instance. It may become obsolete and you may have to take a different path. And I think that, as you said, Rahi, that time is really shortening up, and they need to be able to change and pivot really quickly in their skills. And so, yes, they have to upskill, but firstly, they have to realise that they have to change and be open to change and look for opportunities in those changes coming towards them, because there'll be new environments where you can make robots, and you may never have considered that before, but now this is a really amazing opportunity for you. So I'd say to the younger people, look for those opportunities, be open to change, open to really taking a different path than what they thought they were going to do. And if they do that really quickly, they will keep up with the changes that are coming.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, thank you for touching that. Yes, Sharon. Yes, you do have a large franchisee in Bangladesh. Thanks for investing and skilling people up in Bangladesh. beautiful. Really appreciate that. Kelly,
Yes.
how do you think the space has changed? Because you basically, I have seen, you and I, we've been going to, because Kelly and I, we are friends from Tony Robbins, and we've been going to for last, I don't know how many years. And I have seen you not only made a change within yourself, but you've actually changing the whole dynamic. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, so I started my Lunch with Strangers journey purely as a personal challenge, just because I couldn't talk to people before, so I thought I might force myself to do something and get out of my comfort zone and talk to people. But what I got out of it was completely mind-blowing. I changed, like my whole person changed completely in every single aspect imaginable. And I realized that this is not a one-off case, because other people hearing my story and they do something similar about Lunch with Strangers and they get very similar results. And that's something that I've learned a lot, is that we learn so much from people. And at this point of time when we're all stuck at home, it's actually a good time to connect with other people. And I'm amazed on how many international lunch guests that I had lunch with recently because of the Zoom lunches. We're all connected together all over the world. So, yeah.
Thank you, Kelly. Tima, where do you think the world is going towards, and what skills people would need to cater for those changes and be at the front line?
Well, I'd like to take it on a slightly different angle. Firstly, I think it's really important to acknowledge that there's a fear element with where the world is heading. And there is definitely fear that people have in terms of seeing where their future is and how they can not only integrate, but also survive and thrive through that period. And one thing I want to remind people is that we've been through many revolutions before and we have survived. But the most important thing is to not wait, to actually just start implementing those skills now and those changes now. The thing that I really want to focus on too is you can't compete with a robot. You can't compete with artificial intelligence. And I think that's where a lot of that fear element comes into play. The things that I would like to really talk about today and really focus on is, especially the younger generation, is to really focus not necessarily on tangible skills. And I do understand the concept of, yes, upskilling yourself for where technology is heading, but really focusing on those skills that we have as human beings that are really quite natural to us, but we haven't been really focusing on them for a long time because of technology. And we have been consumed with this whole connection and how to connect with people through technology. Now, emotional intelligence is incredibly important, and so are soft skills. And they are things that I believe that not only just the younger generation, but just humans in general, if we tap into that, it's not going to be fearful to actually, walk into this new world that we are all going to be integrating toward very, very soon. And that's really what will help set us apart from the artificial intelligence and all of the technology that we'll be exposed to. And they're the things that I would suggest for people to really focus on in upskilling, on how to communicate, how to be confident and actually show up in different mediums, whether it be in person or on camera, how to negotiate. I mean, negotiating is an incredible skill to have, how to actually sell and promote yourself. Those are the things that I personally believe are incredibly important as skills. And that also leans towards having those entrepreneurial skills and the entrepreneurial mindset as well. And as Kelly was saying, before, being an introvert, is that correct? You're more of an introvert and you kind of pushed yourself to actually meet new people. And that's showcasing that growth mindset, is that you really are capable of being whoever you want to be, as long as you give yourself the opportunity to think like a student and actually take those skills on and actually just try different things. So they're the things that I would love to share today, Rahi, because this whole concept of where the world is heading is very, very exciting, but there's a huge element of fear. And I'd love to at least adjust that fear and just remind people that you can really teach yourself anything you want and really become whoever you want through your own self, through being a human and not competing with technology or artificial intelligence, because we can't. And they can't compete with us. They don't have what we have. So they're the things that I'd love to touch on.
No, thank you. Thanks everyone. That was so awesome, and wise. Basically, what you have told us. One skill that I would touch on, which is basically this. What is especially for my who are the viewers, the skill of taking notes. Okay, because what even while I'm listening to you guys, I am actually taking some notes here, and to my viewers, I will also say, okay, yep, take notes, because there will be so many gold nuggets. There's so many things that because our guests today, they have vast experiences, and I'm gonna ask him, I'm gonna probe them, I'm gonna pick their brains, and they will drop so many gold nuggets. And one skill that I think have changed, apart from growth mindset, all these things, is taking notes and then go, where have I taken that notes? Okay, so I will just remind you, Anthony, I will directly go to you, because I have the privilege of seeing you on live. Those of you who don't know, Anthony is he's a speaker trainer. He runs, he basically MCs big events. But one of the other things that Anthony does, he does Jedi tricks. He's a mentalist. He does mind. He has done all sorts of big shows on cruise and all this. I would ask you one question, Anthony, at what point, because I also know a little bit of your past, at what point you had ongoing business, at what point you thought that the work that you were doing as a carpenter, because that's what Anthony, now I need to shift, and why did you shift? Was it necessity, or you saw some opportunity?
So the big shift came through a situation. So the carpentry business that I had, and this was back in the UK, that business was doing really well. And in 2003, because I was dealing a lot with trade rather than domestic, and I had a lot of people bring up some bad debts with the business, and me being a small business led me to the point where I had to wind the business down and close it down. So I was in this position where I had grown this business to be really successful in the UK, all of a sudden being right back to square one. And at that point in time, I thought, well, what do I want to do? Can I do anything different? And it was at that moment in time, I decided to hit the reset button. That's when I moved out to Australia. And when I arrived in Australia, I kind of felt I had this opportunity to just do whatever I wanted to completely reinvent myself and try something new and try something different. And prior to that, I had done mentalism and magic as just a bit of a hobby, and done a few little events back in the UK. Arrived in Australia and thought, well, I wonder if I can make money out of the entertainment industry. And so started to go down that path. And luckily, I say luckily, it's involved a lot of hard work, but I've made a lot of really good choices along the way, and I've taken advantage of opportunities when they have presented themselves, which has led me to, and I'm not saying this to inflate my ego, but I've performed in the world's biggest touring magic show, The Illusionists, one of the most booked corporate entertainers around Australia. And that has all come through me taking advantage of these opportunities. But the way that this ties back is that right now, this situation that we are in, where things are changing in the world, and we've just heard that this revolution is happening a lot faster. We thought it was going to be further down the track. But suddenly finding yourself in a situation where you've had the rug pulled out from underneath your feet, there's two ways that you can go, and one of them is you can go below the line, become really negative, and think that, oh no, the whole thing's going wrong, and all you're going to see in that situation is just the negative, and that's what happened to me for a while. And it wasn't until a friend turned around to me and they said, look, Anthony, you're being really negative. Nobody wants to be around you. That a switch was suddenly flicked in my mind, and I was just like, okay, I need to change this. I need to make some decisions, and I need to look at for the opportunities rather than just seeing all these things that have happened to me. So it was part of it was a mindset, and that mindset then led me to move out to Australia and just completely restart everything, completely new identity. So you don't have to go to that extreme of moving to the other side of the world, but it is about making that active decision to look for opportunities. Because once you do, all of a sudden they then start to come in. I mean, who would have thought that this morning I was doing an event here on the Gold Coast? Who would have thought that then a few hours later I'd then be talking to a bunch of amazing people in Bangladesh? This is a huge opportunity that we now have.
Exactly. And one of the reasons that I ask these questions, because often I find when I do my work with my clients, people think that, okay, they have suffered, they have been in some industry. How can I reinvent? But how can I, and even once COVID started, because I was doing with a lot of small businesses. Overnight, I see 80% of my people that I work with, they don't have their businesses. If they don't have their businesses, I don't have my businesses. So I had to actually reinvent myself. So a lot of people, a lot of times I see that they think that they are doing something, but I wanted to ask you that question because from one industry, you went into totally a different industry. And now I know you are the leader of the industry, So thank you. Thanks for sharing. Almas bhai, 20 years back, did you decide that I want to be the head of BASIS? How did that happen?
No.
And what skill basically helped you to get there?
Sure. No, of course, I did not think about that, but I always wanted to be an influencer, or I wanted to contribute to the ICT industry. And so I started my career in the ICT industry in 1989. So that's like about, almost 31 years ago. So at that time, I mean, from very beginning, from that time, I was always, I had this in mind that I wanted to do something, as I was saying, some kind of contribution, meaningful contribution to the industry. What has led, I think I always wanted to come, wanted to make a difference. Whenever there was an issue, I offered my suggestions, I offered my inputs, and this is how I was noticed, and people started. I was lucky, I think, also that many people, they started agreeing with my ideas, with my views, with my opinions, and this is how some people thought that I was a good leader, and it would be a good idea to elect me as the president of BASIS. So I think it did not happen overnight, but I maybe gradually it happened. I don't know if I have answered your question or not.
No. You have partially, of course, you have answered, but I think you're being very modest. What skills actually helped you to get to a position where you are not only an authority, but you are actually you are influencing the decisions of technology for a country, actually.
I think one thing I really am aware of. I wouldn't say it's a skill, but maybe it's a characteristic. That is, whatever I have done in my life, I have done it with full dedication. And I mean, even if it is a very small thing, even if it is a one-day project, one-day event, if I have been given that responsibility to organize that event, I have given my full dedication, my full attention to do that, and I have never ever quit from any task that I have been given ever. That is one thing I believe has helped me, and I have persevered. Of course, there were occasions where I have failed in the first time, but I have persevered, and perseverance is also another thing that helped me to achieve whatever I have achieved so far. And I think that belongingness, the sense of belongingness, whenever I worked somewhere, if I always felt that company, that work is mine, as if it is mine. It is not. I'm not working for somebody. So that sense of belongingness is also, I think, helped me in, I mean, dedicate myself. The dedication that I was talking about, that sense of belongingness helped me enhance or increase that dedication. And the last thing that I would like to say is, I think uh, whatever I have done so far, I always, again, maybe I was lucky. I did it with my passion. I never thought that I was actually working, or it was my job or my duty. I always thought I enjoyed it. Whatever I have done, I enjoyed it, and I never thought that it was a job or it was a work. It was, I mean, it was it was always my passion. So I think these things help for the whatever I have achieved.
Thank you. You basically literally giving me the segue to where actually I wanted to go, because a lot of times when we hear about, earlier you talked about robotics, and we are talking about business skills and all this, people tend to go on hands-on skill, but so much we have realized. I mean, I know most of our viewers, I don't know the actual demographic, but from the registrations, I know they are young entrepreneurs or people who are just going into corporate, and they think skilling is basically the hard skill, for IT is programming skill, for let's say right now we're speaking skill, but what they forget, the value, ethics, passion. And I always, like, I am a very touchy person. I go, what's happened here and what happens here. So that's basically, and we don't focus that on initially, but later as we grow, we realize, no, it's a lot to do with your mindset and your passion and your dedication. Thank you for touching that. Kelly, I would ask you, now that you have been talking to so many people, and then, I also know that you have talked to some billionaires, okay? You actually flew to UK, and, like, this is what can happen. And this is what I want to tell you. You can tell Kelly, tell and my, the audience that we have, you never know what happens. Kelly had, what, 4 months back, a billionaire in Manhattan sitting, one of the topmost penthouse, having lunch just because she just said, can I have lunch with you? Okay. So that is, yes, skill, but what basically, I'm talking about soft skill. What soft skill got you there with those top big short business people who basically controls world economy?
I think one of the biggest lessons I learned is that one connection can change your life, and you just don't know when's your next life-changing connection is going to be made. And how I got to have lunch with a billionaire is actually an introduction. I didn't know him. I don't have his contact or anything like that, but a friend of mine whom I had lunch with said, hey, you're traveling and he's in town. Why don't you have lunch with him? I'll make an introduction. And I said, why not? I love to see him and learn from him. And that 2 hours lunch was just mind blowing, and how I hear him about, talking about his business and things. And there are so many lunches like that, similar, that I didn't expect. So like when I met my friend who introduced me to the billionaire, I didn't expect I would have lunch with the billionaire. He just, I'm meeting a friend and that's his boss. So just very interesting experience. Yes.
Yes. And what, is there any skill set? When I say skill set, would you attribute that to some of the achievement that you have, your recent achievement? I know you have got a lot of other achievement, but now that people know you as the 100 lunch lady, okay, what some of the skill that has attributed to that?
I think one thing that I've learned important, I mentioned earlier when you first asked me that question, what's that underrated skill, I said confidence. But when I meant confident, I want to make it clear that I didn't mean going into a room and thinking you're better than everyone else. That's not confident. What I said confident means that you go into a room and you don't need to compare yourself with anybody. You just be yourself. And that's something that I've learned by meeting so many people, is that everyone's unique and you can just be yourself. And once you are able to do that, then you connect with people in a much deeper connection. And so when I have lunch with people and when I meet people, we make much deeper connection, and that's why we've got a lot more collaborations and a lot more opportunities come out from all those lunches. And I think that's a very important skills for people nowadays, especially when it's a lot of internet focus or talking about likes. But think about it, every person, you know, behind the Facebook post is an actual person, and how you actually connect with that person on a deeper level, in a personal level, is something that we really need to learn through, you know, computer screen or something. Yeah.
Thanks, Kelly. Thank you. Thank you. I will go to Tima. Talking about behind the people and behind, Tima is among of all the people I know has a really huge followers, close to 100K, right? Almost. I mean, that last time I checked, Tima had a really huge followers, and there is, you know, Tima. I'll ask you why people follow you. Why there's so many people? So many people fall in love with you. What skill you have? What have you done that people just sees you and go, click, I want to follow Tima?
That's a very good question. And thank you for the compliments, Rahi. I think one of the main reasons why people do follow my content, it's because it really connects with them on a deep level. And I genuinely do not make the content about myself at all. I talk about experience, or I talk about educational things, and I talk about things that really matter to people. And I think that's really one of the reasons why people do connect with my content and why they also really genuinely love it. One of the other reasons is because they understand what my mission is. They understand what my why is. They know what my purpose is. And people have really, really embraced that. And I really see that people that do follow my content, I feel like they're like ambassadors of my vision and my why. And I think that's really how I've built an incredible community of people that really believe in the work that I do. And it's been one of the most incredible experiences that I've ever had in my career.
Thank you, Almas bhai. I know you. Thank you, Tima. Thanks for the deep impacting. What you said. It's not all about you. It's about people who you talk to. I know, Almas bhai, you have to leave because you have got high ministerial meetings. So before you leave, for our viewers, for the young viewers especially, would you like to say something, about how they can skill themselves up? I think.
Yeah, I think the young people should upskill themselves. Whatever skill they have, they need to upskill. Sometimes they need to reskill also, depending on the situation. But whatever you do, this is for the young people, I'm saying, whatever you do, you have to do it from today. You cannot say that, okay, let everything gets, all right, let the pandemic be over, and then I will be thinking about skill. No, it is from today. You have to start earning your skills, and you can do that from YouTube. You can read books. You can get help from a senior or your peer, but you have to reskill and upskill yourself to embrace the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution. And another advice I have, that whatever skill you earn, I'm talking about hard skills. So whatever skill you earn, you have to be expert on that. You have to be master on that. There is no use of being a jack of all trade. Whatever you do, you have to be master of one or two skills. That's it. It could be programming in computer. It could be singing. It could be playing piano. It could be cooking. Whatever skill, or it could be, whatever skill you earn, that you have to be the best. If you can become the best in that particular skill area, then you will be able to excel. You will be able to advance. But not only, to be successful, it is not only important to earn these hard skills, but also soft skills that many of our discussants have been talking about. Those soft skills are very, very important. Otherwise, you might have the hard skill, but you will not be able to communicate with other people. Other people will not be able to understand you, and you will not be able to prove yourself in the society. And if you can have those soft skills as well as the hard skills, then you can become a leader. And I think we, in our country, in our world, we really need good leaders. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I look forward to connect with you in future.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate your advice and your recommendations. Thank you, Almas. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Thank you all.
Okay. So Almas, he has to leave. He has got some other appointments. Sharon, I will ask you one question because I know I did a little bit of digging. Okay. Not stalking, little bit of digging. Okay. So you were Businesswoman of the Year. You were the top most before you were in real estate, and that's basically, should I use the cutthroat industry? Not cutthroat, but that's very competitive industry. Okay. And being a lady, it was in Aussie, we say blokes game, not anymore, but it used to be men's area. How did you manage to become the the topmost real estate in a very competitive environment?
Yeah, thank you, Rahi. I'm glad you've asked me this question because I did, you were talking about transforming, and I was in real estate for many years and then went into franchising with our HydroClean business, and now, business growth and coaching and speaking. And so I had to change and reskill at each of those stops. But the thing that I think that carried me all the way through was, for me, I say, in the morning I get up and I say, whose life am I going to change today? And when I go to bed, whose life did I change today? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. For me, it was a passion of getting people from A to B. And it didn't matter what industry or modality I was using, that, as long as I was doing that, and, I could do anything in the world that I wanted to, because I really enjoyed seeing people transform in that way. And how I did that in every industry that I've been in, and I teach this to my coaches now in my program, is that you must be able to ask great questions. And if you are curious and, you want to find out more information, grow your own individual learnings, or find out more about other industries or other ways that you can change up, is that you just have to ask more questions. And it's a really great skill to have if you're the one in the room asking all the questions, because you're going to be learning, because people, most people that I hang around with, they want to share. And so if you're asking the right people the right questions, then you will have a massive amount of information coming towards you that will take you to the next level.
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for sharing that. One of the things that I want to actually share, there was, I think, 6 days. Sharon and I was in a room. Don't get any ideas. There were 20 other people also. Okay, so we were basically for a training, but it was a cozy, really cozy training for one of the top trainers in Australia, or in one of the top, world trainer. And when Sharon came in, she had actually a broken leg, and I was beside her. So I basically saw, one of the things that I saw, she could have easily given up. Okay, there were, like if you go those coaching training, there's lots of activities and all this. But what I saw, with a broken leg, a lady fully plastered up, the resilience that I've seen. And as I talked to her and as I got to know her more, I found out, yes, she's got skills, she's got a lot of mindsets of this, but what I've seen, that the never giving up attitude, which also Almas was talking about, the resilience. I think that's one of the key things that I saw in her, because now I knew that, okay, no wonder this lady has achieved so much, because she is not giving up, irrespective. I could actually see, the pain actually on her face, but she was not giving up. So that was one of the things that I've learned sitting beside you. Sharon, thank you for,
Yes.
you did not tell me anything, but you taught me a lot. Okay. So Tima, what I want to ask you, what, since you get to interact with so many people, and what do you think, is there a pattern of, especially since we're talking to young people, is there a pattern of not lack of skill, but where is there a pattern where people should or could improve?
With the younger generation?
Yeah, younger generation.
Okay. I feel so old when I say the younger generation, but it's true, they are the younger generation. So what comes up most in conversation, there's a couple of things. So one, they're really unsure of where they're heading. So there's all this incredible pressure that is placed on the younger generation, this youth, where they feel like they need to have it all figured out. And we live in a world right now where everything seriously looks perfectly successful, polished. Everyone looks like they know what they're doing. Everyone's posting their cars and their holidays, or maybe not holidays anymore because we can't fly anywhere, but everyone's like posting all of this perfection and that people have figured things out. And I feel like the youth, from the conversations that I have with them, they're really, really unsure of what they're meant to be doing with their life. And that really comes back to self-awareness. And that's one of the conversations that I have with them, is that you really need to really be a part of this whole process of investing in yourself. And what does that actually mean? Well, it means that you need to read books. You need to apply the information that you're reading. There's no point in reading a book if you're not going to apply it. Surround yourself with people that are really driven and are successful in their own right. It doesn't always have to be money. But those sort of conversations are the things that I found that they're just really genuinely confused about what they want to do with their life. And they are also under this impression that they have to be a business owner or an entrepreneur or somebody that is generating X amount of dollars to be happy. And all of those things are just fake stories, and it's really untrue. And they're the real conversations that I have with them. And for me, it really worries me because they put so much pressure on themselves to the point where they actually get really quite depressed and anxious. And I really want the younger generation to understand that you don't have to have it figured out, because I genuinely believe this, and I posted this on LinkedIn about a week ago, that the people that look as though they have it all together or have figured it out, they actually haven't. No one has really figured it out. The only difference is that there's consistency, there's action, and there's a determination that is behind all of these sort of things. So this concept of, these people have figured it out, we're all just trying different things and we just show what we want to show online. And I think there's a really important thing to talk about that, because the younger generation are online all the time and they're constantly comparing themselves. And one thing I really want them to focus on is to stop comparing as much as they possibly can and really have something that they are willing to almost die for. Like, what is that thing that you are so passionate about that is going to really push you through those challenges? And going back to our conversation earlier around, what creates success is that consistency. It's really that consistency and that self-belief and that self-drive. So they're, to be honest, they're the conversations that I have, Rahi. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of self-doubt, and there's a lot of comparison, and these fake stories of what success really looks like.
Now, thank you, Tima. You have touched on such an important and deep pattern, and that is so true. Let's say, Donald Trump has coined it fake, but that is kind of like the facade that a lot of people I see put on and show the fake. This is how success look like, but the true success is something different, as we know, and it's not that all shiny ITs that we see. Thank you for touching that, and thanks. I would thank Imran. Of course, most people know Imran because it's his platform, but people who have joined us, and all of a sudden, if you see this handsome young guy with all the bulbs, like as if he's in a green room. He's Imran Fahad. He's basically the person behind this awesome Inspiring Bangladesh platform. Imran, since I am a Bangladeshi origin, I am connected to the to Bangladeshi people, and I know most of our audience are Bangladeshis. Since you are in the ground and you're talking, every night you're doing 2-3 shows. Sometimes I see you, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and the next thing I know, you're again at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're doing shows. Okay, you are on the ground, and I will ask you actually 2 questions, 2-step questions. Where do you see the vacuum or the need, and us somehow, let's say not privileged, but sometimes we see the change earlier, especially in transformation, being in a so-called developed country, in USA, Australia, where things move faster in terms of transformation, and so being in a developed country, I think we all are 5 of us. What can we bring to Bangladesh, and what can we also export in terms of skill?
Right. Thank you, Rai, for this amazing questions, and it's a pleasure to have you all in this platform of Beyond'20. Like as I've said, Inspiring Bangladesh is a first social network, especially designed for Bangladeshi people, which inspires. So whole idea of this platform is to inspiring the generation. Like as we are sitting in this pandemic and we don't have any other work to do except frustrating, or except being conscious about what will going to be happen in near future. So we have designed this platform so that people can be inspired with good news. Like every times what we have seen in this pandemic days, starting from March, this number of people are going to die, and these are the people already affected, and the number of deaths rate is getting higher and higher globally. So we have taken this initiative, why don't we launch such kind of thing which can inspire, where we can put all the good newses and the inspiring newses of a country and the individuals, through which people can connect, collaborate, and co-create. That is the whole idea behind the Inspiring Bangladesh. And we can proudly say we have already onboarded 30,000 plus users organically in our platform. The whole idea is to connect them with others, those who are inspiring. In different social medias, we have seen negative contents, which is very alarming for our mental health. So that is the whole reason we have designed this platform of Inspiring Bangladesh. And coming back to the question of Mr. Rahid, what he said, the show what we have launched during this pandemic, which is the Inspiring Show, which has got 3 million plus reach from 12 countries of the world. The whole idea is to connecting different like-minded inspiring people and share their experience, so that after listening them, people can be inspired. So we can say that we have done it in a successful manner, and that is the outcome of Beyond. The Beyond came from it's a 3 days long program where we are focusing into skills, investment, and funding. Where we need to focus on what will happen after 2020, and we need to be ready for this. And this is the ultimate plan and ultimate strategy of launching this kind of 3 days long event. And we can easily assume that Beyond'20 will be a platform for different like-minded people from different sectors, from different countries, so that we can take this kind of knowledge initiative regular basis. So that is the whole idea of Beyond 2020. And the skills what we are following right now is the power of networking, the power of social network, and the power of internet, through which we are connecting with everyone. We have met different people from different countries for this reason, for this Beyond. And we believe in a sustainable connection through which everyone will be connected, and we can add value in any other's business. And together, in the word I've always used, together we can make a sustainable relationship through which everyone can be benefited. So that's what I can say for this platform and this initiative. Thank you, Rai Bhai.
Thank you, Imran. You know, it's like I'm listening to you. You know, like I'm listening to you, and I was totally into. I did not want you to stop. I was like, okay, I'm actually getting inspired. You know, because there's two ways. You know, like there are people I know who can inspire, but there are people who can inspire and set something up so that the inspiration just doesn't die feeling good about it. The inspiration, and what you have done is you have created a platform through which the inspiration will basically, it will have a snowball effect. Okay?
Right.
So now I'm actually asking you, I'll go back to you again. You know, you have heard, you know, like you were in the backstage, you have heard what we're talking about. You know, like I've got 5 experts here. How do you think we can contribute to your goal? I mean, yes, we are coming here, we are talking to you, we are sharing our experience, but how can we contribute to our viewers?
Thank you once again for this wonderful question. Like the whole idea of this Beyond is not having a 3 days long program once, but after this session will over, after 19th of September, we are creating a virtual platform, inviting all the speakers, those who will going to participate in 3 days long event. We have got 60 speakers from 10 countries and 60 different people from different background, through which we are creating a collaborative platform. Say the people from Australia, people from UK, USA, UAE, Canada, they will under one platform into 3 different categories: skills, investment, and startups, through which we can exchange our thought, and we can create a sustainable platform through which inspiring Bangladesh can be valued, and create this proper networking platform from like-minded people. So that's what I believe. After the session, it will not be over, and we're looking for some sustainable mode of partnership and collaborative mode of work in coming days. And that's what I believe after this session of Beyond 20. Thank you.
Thank you, Rat. Thank you for you know, setting the plan. I will actually ask Kelly. You know, while you know we change our skills and we make our transformation, and you have done, you know, like you yourself, you publicly said that I have transformed. We see sometimes, I mean, we are not always end product, but right now we are at a phase of where we are right now. But there has been a lot of challenges and issues. Okay, so what do we face? Normally, I would ask you what challenges you have personally faced, where you feel, okay, this is where I am now, this is where I want to go.
Yep.
How do I do it? And what were the you know, the challenges or the block that you have faced, and how did you overcome?
I faced lots of challenges during my challenge. One of the most obvious one would be rejections. In order to have lunch with 100 strangers, I got at least 500 rejections to get those 100 people saying yes. And after I even finished the challenge, I keep going. Now I had more than 250 lunches. People still challenge my motive sometimes and go, why? I don't understand, why are you doing this? Are you trying to sell me something? Or I even have some hate emails sending to me and saying that I don't know what you're doing. Why are you staying up late working while you should be spending time with your kids? Because I've got 2 young kids. I'm like, why are you telling me this? Lots of negatives out there, but doesn't matter. Just like Timo said earlier about focus on your passion, just keep going, keep trying. And more importantly, like Sharon said earlier, keep learning and keep growing. And this is something that I believe is very, very important, is that keep learning. I haven't learned a lot in, you know, since I graduated from uni. I thought I've learned enough in life, but then turns out that there's so much that I don't know, and you just don't know what you don't know. So I just keep investing in myself in the last years. I learned from people. I learned from talking to people, hearing from people's story, learning from different perspectives in lives, and reading, and like Rahi mentioned earlier, joining Tony Robbins, for example. Just keep improving yourself, and then we can become a better person so that we can help more people after, and and do more cool things and interesting things in life.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Kelly. I mean, I know we all, at certain point, we all look into mindset and, passion and all the things that happens in your brain and psychology. But I think due to profession, I think, Anthony, you have looked into people's mind more than, because the tricks that you do, it are amazing, literally amazing, because I've seen, if you haven't seen, just YouTube Anthony Lay and see all the mind tricks that he does. Okay, Anthony, could you give us some mind hack? Okay, when I say mind hack, meaning this, some people say 2 billion old man, how can we, there's so many things happens in our brain, okay, and how can we basically focus, concentrate, or what would you say after looking into the mind itself as a science and looking into so many people's mind? Could you give us something? I'm putting a vague question, but would you tell us, okay, this is what you need to look for to basically, when you look into your mind, to program your mind?
So with that, there's two answers I'm going to give here. One of them with regard to focus and being able to stop getting distracted by all the other shiny things that are going on. One of the big things that I do there, and you've mentioned it already yourself, is to write things down. A lot of the time we try to remember so much in our head that we then end up forgetting what we were trying to remember. So by physically writing something down, it allows us to really focus on it and have it in a place where we can see it all of the time. That allows us to stay on track. One of the biggest challenges that I've had to face moving through this career, and I still face it now, is being able to constantly work on my confidence. And I think it was mentioned earlier on about building that confidence and having that confidence in yourself. Now, a little hack that we can use here is if we are going to be put in front of a group, or we are about to have a conversation with somebody, maybe you're going to ask somebody for some advice and it makes you feel a little bit nervous, is to remember that the mind and the body are connected. The way that we feel shows up in our body. So if we're ever in that situation where we're feeling like we are lacking confidence, just be very aware of your body and shift your physiology to how you would be stood if you were feeling confident. And what it does is it hacks into the mind and body loop and then allows you to start to breed that confidence organically within yourself. So that's a hack that I use all the time whenever I'm doing shows. When I very first got into doing performances on stage, I was super nervous. So I used to get the knots in my stomach, thought I was going to be sick. My internal dialogue was saying, why are you doing this to yourself? But the one thing that really helped me with that was using my physiology, adopting that physiology of confidence, which then tricked that brain into thinking, okay, maybe you are confident.
Awesome. Thank you, because there's so much, because we, like as I will mention again, Kelly and I, and I'm sure you guys have attended, Kelly and I, we were actually jumping up and down with Tony Robbins just before, and then I just rushed in and came in. Imran asked me to join an event earlier, and I was like, okay, Imran, yes, I will join, but then I'm involved in doing a few things with the Tony Robbins team, like I'm actually participating there. So we know that, that with all these things, like the physical aspect, where how you basically, you're training your brain, but then the physical aspect that comes into play, right? Thanks for touching on that, Anthony. Sharon, I think we will basically slowly wind down what we have started here. It's a vast area that we are talking about. Is there anything you would have done differently? Because you have worked in quite a few sectors, and every sectors you have actually went really, you became leader, and then you changed your goalpost again. Then you became leader. Would you have done differently in any of those environments?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about this quite a lot, is that I would have allowed myself to be more vulnerable and put myself out there, as Kaylee was saying, that, she gets a bit of hate mail, and I was always worried about what people were going to think about me, what they were going to say about me. It became all about me. And then when I realized that it's not about me, It's about helping others, you know, and I'm an introvert too, so it's lovely to meet another introvert. And here I am, I teach people how to speak from stage when you're an introvert. It's that, you know, if I'd known back then that what people say about me or send me emails, it doesn't really affect me. And so I, for a long time, held back in showing my true self. And I'd have this saying of going, oh, when people get to know me after a while, and, you know, what you know, if I had to change something looking back now, it's always great in hindsight, is that I would allow people to see me immediately and just be me, and be vulnerable, be in a position where people say no. And when I was in my one of my businesses, we used to ring a bell every time we said no. We went, no, because we knew we were getting closer to a yes. We celebrated those. And, you know, so I, you know, really celebrate in being able to just be out there, be me, and you know, and accept that's what it is, and not try to be, as Tim was saying earlier, when I was doing live videos early on, you know, it was all professional. Everything was amazing, nothing out of place, and it would take me 3 hours to do a 3-minute video. And you know, a great coach that you know, Rahi, that we worked with at that event, said to me, "Be you, just be you. That's who people love." And if you can really allow yourself to have that vulnerability, people will love you, and you will have the opportunities, and you will meet those amazing people, as Kaylee was saying. And I think that's really wonderful when you get to that place.
Yeah. No, thank you, Sharon. Thanks for sharing that. I'll go to Tima. You know, like we all know, you know, it's like we see the ad, you know, like the beautiful cheese or wine, or, you know, it takes time to become the beautiful self, you know, and we know, you know, we are in business, and I haven't touched much on failures and suffering and all these things that we have gone through and still go through, launching few things. How do you advise people, you know, like people are young? I mean, I know you don't want to touch young because you feel like you look, you know, what you call, you know, you're still, I know you're young, we are all young at heart, but while it takes time to have your business matured and start returning or making some, you know, you're making actual big noises out there, how do we deal with it, deal with all the challenges and the failures that we face?
How do we deal with the challenges and the failures?
Yes.
Is that your
so
question?
while we, you know, like the success comes and all of a sudden you say, okay, this is why I want to come and I have achieved, but it takes a while, you know, the bank balance, the authority, the name, whatever you call your success is, how you define it, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process.
That's right. It's a process.
Yeah, it's a process. And how do you?
And we're
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So how do you actually, you know, prepare yourself, and what do you tell yourself while we get there?
Okay, so we're specifically talking to the younger generation here, and I think one of the things that I remember myself when I was younger, and even now, you know, patience is such an important thing to have, and it's so frustrating to even say the word patience, because when you are young, you don't want to be patient, you just want things to happen, and that's something that I think that patience is incredibly important, but that doesn't mean be lazy. It just means be really, really consistent in your everyday activities. Be really consistent in whatever it is that you're doing every day to bring you closer and closer to your mission. And just understand that over time, it's like the stock market. You're not going to get a massive return on a share that you're investing in unless you're actually actively investing in that share at little moments over time, over that 10-year period. And then that's when you'll see the growth. But to imagine to get this growth overnight, it really is a fantasy, because it's just not true. And that consistency, if the younger people really think of what that actually means, is just really just working towards something that really means something to them. And that's what I was saying a bit earlier, is that consistency and that patience comes alongside with having a purpose and really knowing what it is you're trying to achieve. Because when you do have that clarity, that patience component naturally comes with it, because you will have those days where you're frustrated, but you'll understand that those consistent habits that you put into place and practice every day are really going to help you bring you closer. But in terms of challenges and failures, again, when you are young, you take it so personally, you take it to heart. And I know that I felt like that as well, but that's also because I had a little bit of a perfectionism, situation happening when I was a bit younger as well. And I truly believe, and as cliche as this sounds, failures are not failures. They are real lessons. If anything, they are loud. It's like a loud noise saying to you, this is not what you want to do, or this is not how to do it. There's a better way to do it. It's just another path, more clarity that it gives you to be able to bring you closer to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So there's this beautiful balance in life. We can't enjoy sadness if we don't, so we can't enjoy happiness if we don't know what sadness is. We can't enjoy success if we've never actually technically failed. So how are you ever going to enjoy any return if you haven't felt the opposite? So I feel like it really wakens you up as a human, and it really allows you to be a lot more grateful, and again, also a lot more intentional with everything that you're creating and putting out there in the world.
Thank you. That is so. I know, like it's like every time one of you guys open your mouth, and I was like, okay, I just want to listen so much and won't stop. But we've got time limitations, we've got schedules. I'm sure you've got schedules, because I know at least I know we all have young kids, some of you, and we have to look after them too. What I want to basically, since we're talking about skills, I want to, apart, we have talked a lot about skilling up, and with our conversation, people could, and if you following the pattern, where I am actually trying to take this discussion to is more on the soft skill, or the people, what happens in the brain or what happens in the heart, because what happens is, people get so bogged down into skilling up on hard skill, they forget that, okay, that's only 20%. Even some people say that only 10%. The rest is your mindset, your values, all the other things, the intangible things. So this is where I want to focus on today. So before wrapping up, because we want to wrap up now, regarding skill, if you would like to say one or two sentences or one motto that you want to live by, or you are already living by regarding skills. I mean, we can have many slogans or this, but regarding skill, what would be one or two liner regarding skill and skilling yourself up, what you want to live by? Kelly, go ahead. Because you are amazing.
Oh, thank you. I keep telling people communication skills is so important. How to connect with people on a deeper level. And just one line to remember is one connection can change your life, and you can change your destiny. So keep open to opportunities. You just don't know when's your next life-changing connection is going to be made.
Right. Beautiful. Sharon.
Be consistent and persistent, have consistency every day, and be persistent. If you really want something, just keep persisting at it.
Mm-hmm. Anthony.
So I would say communication skills as well. I strongly believe that you could be the most skilled person in the room, you could have the best idea in the room, but if you can't communicate that, no one will ever see how good your idea is or how skilled you are. So your level of communication directly reflects how skilled people will perceive you as being.
Mm-hmm. Tima, what would be your one-liner?
My one-liner, it'd be quite long, so I might just stick to two skills. I would definitely say communication, the art of influence. So really being able to really captivate someone's attention. That's really what we're all really fighting for in the end, is captivating someone's attention. But also emotional intelligence, that's incredibly important, because if you have that, you can really connect with anyone and be successful in any aspect in your life.
Cool. I have the privilege of asking questions and not answering anything. So, okay, but I will add one thing. I think what I would add is communications and all this, but I think just go for it. Whatever you feel like, I think it's just go for it and see how miserably you fail, or as Kelly was saying, then you never know where the next one, you only need that one connection, one opportunity. So I would say go for it, okay? Imran.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you for coming back. What would you say?
Thank you. The thing I need to say, and I always tell my people, inspire, ignite, and impact. Like the way we are seeing the future is to be create, collaborate, and communicate, 3C and 3I, so that we can be focused on, and we need to be connected with everyone at the same time. This is the tough time what the globally everyone is facing. The whole idea is to sustain this year, to be yourself and be safe, and at the same time focus for the future, so that it will be easier for you to plan accordingly. So I believe that will be the ultimate goal for everyone in coming days. Thank you, Rai.
Thank you, Imran. Thank you so much. Thank you, our guest speakers. And talking about, I think one is a common flavor that we are getting from all the expert and all the speakers are connections and communication. So please do connect. I'm sure all of you guys are on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Please do connect with us. And yes, do connect, and you never know where these connections will take you or take us. Because I connected with Imran through, I don't know, Facebook. And through Facebook, then we realized we went to the same university. Then we are talking about business ventures, and then he invites me to talk on his show, and now he invites me to not only come and speak on his show. He says, okay, brother, I've got this series of speakers I am talking to. I'm not sleeping at all. I'm hardly getting 1 hour sleep or 2 hours sleep. Help me out with some of the amazing speakers that I have. Please, can you facilitate talking to them? So you never know where it takes you. Okay.
Right.
So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your awesome input. And I would love, I will see you guys again. And thanks, Imran, for
it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure having everyone in our platform, and I would like to thank you on behalf of my team from Bangladesh, from High Tech Park Authority, and the whole team of Beyond'20. And I would like to say everyone to share this content, because through this content you can learn so many things that will help you, and that will help your near ones to learn something out of it. That will be the ultimate success of this Beyond'20. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Cheers.